longer. You move your job to a shoe factory in Cape Town to be closer to the center of things, and though you're still working hard by day, in your spare time, you're fast becoming a sporting celebrity. In fact, one day, you confide your real ambition to a pal of yours at the next workbench.
Precious told me he wanted to become a world champion for South Africa.
That same workmate in South Africa 17 years ago and still a pal, Brian Hooft. Now, Brian, your mate's dream of success in world competition must have seemed pretty remote when you two were together in the shoe factory.
Very remote, Eamon. Because being a colored in South Africa, he stood no chance, you know, of ever taking part in international competitions. And one day, he came to me and he said, you know, I've got an offer to go to the Olympics, but I've got to wear a different color blazer, and I can't travel with the team. So he said, I'm not going to. It's the principle behind it. And I was disappointed, but glad that he did it, you know. And then it was a while after that he came and he says, I'm going to England. So I said, well, if you're going to England and if you live for them, I said, you'll do well, and I'm sure you do. And I'm very pleased to say that he's become a very great champion.
Thank you, Brian Hooft. Thank you. Well, with talent and determination like yours, Precious, a break had to come. There are comments in the press when teams leave South Africa for foreign lands without the country's greatest weightlifter. And when the Rome Olympic passed by and you're still not there, there's one man who's determined to bring your case into the spotlight. In fact, he hired an arena in Johannesburg just for you.
That was the night he starred in the Precious Mckenzie show.
Secretary of the South African Non-Racial Olympic Committee, your good friend in Johannesburg in those days, Chris de Brolio. Chris, what was the Precious Mckenzie show?
Oh, he was just fantastic. He broke every record in the book and really made his mark on South African weightlifting. I mean, from there he had to go on.
This was a one-man show that you organized so that he could do it. And everyone else
his own show, actually.
Only he could do that. Thank you, Chris de Brolio. Thank you. Well, after that show, the wheels are set in motion for your move to Britain via transfer to the English branch of the shoe manufacturers you were working for. Now, Brian Hooft, you'd been best man at his wedding, and you were there the day he left South Africa. How did he feel about it?
Well, he felt very, very sad because he thought he'd never ever meet his friends again. But in a way, I think that he knew that this was his big break and his lucky chance had come. And he's proved it today.
Yes. Well, now, by this time, of course, you'd come over to England. You had a family to look after. It was in 1961, wasn't it, that you were married to Elizabeth in Cape Town, and we can see that memorable day because there was a home movie camera on the scene. There you are at the start of 15 years of married life that have been happy all the way. Although, Elizabeth, I believe there was a moment in your courtship when it looked as if that love match was over before it had even begun.
Yes, I can remember Precious went to work and he said to one of his friends, I've got a girlfriend and I've got to know if she loves me, yes or no. So the chap said to him, well, the only thing what you got to do, tell her that you don't want to see her anymore. He came back and the night we were going weightlifting and he said to me, I don't think I'll go out with you anymore. And I was so shocked and so ashamed that I just burst out crying and he said to me, oh, we'll get engaged.
Well, it's a novel way of doing it, I'll say that, Precious. Your first two youngsters, Sandra and Vanessa, there are born in South Africa, and you're happy to have them around you as you try to pick up the threads of a new life over here. Your first job is in Northampton, and you have to start again to build your sporting reputation. But there's one man who recognizes your talent right away and makes an important decision.
I made up my mind that Precious was going to lift for Great Britain.
That same admirer, Secretary of the British Weightlifters Association in Great Britain, team manager Wally Holland.
How are you, son? Very good.
Well, Wally, in spite of his achievements in South Africa, Precious couldn't walk straight into the Great Britain team.
No, this was because he had to be a British citizen. And Precious had been trying to become a British citizen, but had no luck. So I took up the cudgels on his behalf and wrote to the Home Office. They didn't even send me back the little buff card that usually says your inquiry will receive attention. So I thought, what should we do next? So we wrote to the Sports Minister, who was Dennis Howe at the time, and in 3 days the Home Office phoned me up and said, Precious Mckenzie will have a passport. So I immediately wrote to Dennis Howe and said, thanks very much. He replied, oh, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know a thing about it. But we have a great esprit de corps in British politics.
Anyhow, you lost no time in getting him into a Great Britain vest. Was he a good team man, Wally?
He's a great team man. He's a little man with a big heart. Usually placid, but like Conti said, that he can have a little bit of violence in him. I can remember in Montego Bay, we were coming back with Mike Pearman, myself and Precious, and a gang of toughs started to call him Shorty. And I can call him Shorty, but not those. And so Precious decides he'll go across and demand an apology. Now, I was scared out my life, but I'm still here, so you guess, Precious got his apology.
Well, thanks for the tip-off, Wally, but maybe we can persuade him to concede that he's not quite the biggest guy on the team in terms of poundage. In fact, we can settle that argument right now, Precious, because they're all here to join your tribute tonight, all 1,900 pounds of them, your pals of the British weightlifting team. John McNiven, Scottish bantamweight champion. Alan Winterbourne, English lightweight champion. Ron Collins, 3 years middleweight powerlifting champion. Mike Pearman, British light heavyweight champion. Tony Ford, British light heavyweight champion. George Manners, British mid heavyweight champion. John Burns, British heavyweight champion. Andy Kerr, British super heavyweight champion. And their team coach, John Lear. Well, John, Precious is the lightest of the lot of you, but that's a plus as far as you're concerned.
Yes, very much so, because in weightlifting competition, Mac, of course, being in the small men classes, he's always one of the first to start. And over these years that we've been together in the team, he's won gold medals and always placed very high in world championships. And that has given the team a marvellous start at the beginning of a competition. I think, from my point of view, he's been a great inspiration to me, to the other boys in the team, and of course to the young lifters who are coming up. Everybody knows Precious and they want to emulate him. He's been marvellous for us.
Thank you, John Lear, Wally Hammond, and thank you, the Great Britain weightlifting team. Well, the barefoot youngster from a South African shantytown has come all the way to the top. A biography has been written about you by Marion Cannock, and last year at Buckingham Palace you received your MBE for services to sport. It's a moment, Precious, to go back to the days when ragged little families stuck together through thick and thin, and there seemed to be no future at all. Now, Gloria, you and Precious were in your teens before there was even any sort of a Mckenzie family gathering.
Yes, when we lost the reunion with my elder brother Leslie for years until such time.
He left when you were what age?
He left when
Or
Precious
had to
was
leave.
2 years and I was still a baby in arms.
In fact, Precious, when the time came for you to leave the orphanage, the brother from whom you'd been separated for all those years had fought his own way to the top. He sent for you, bought you your first ever suit, and gave you a home until you were ready to make your own life. 12 years ago, you waved him goodbye in South Africa, but we've flown him here tonight from Durban, former Empire welterweight title contender, your brother, Leslie.
Hello, brother. How are you?
After 12 years, and I'm really pleased to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Tammy, do you still remember 12 years ago when you said to me you wanted to be a champ because I was a champ?
I remember the day, yes.
You remember?
Yes.
Well, today I'm really proud of you because you are a champ is what you are now. And in fact, you're a greater champ than what I was.
Precious
Bye,
Mckenzie, this is your life.
All of you,